What is good, YouTube? It has been a long time coming. I've been waiting for this. I got my hands on the Endymion deck early. I had copies. I've had 3 copies of the structure deck delivered to me early. I'm pretty sure this is early, at least. Not so sure that they were supposed to come out yet. I'm checking now just to make sure. Just to make sure, I'm trying to see what was going on with its release date, because okay, so yeah, they're supposed to come out later on this week. I got mine early. I got mine today. It's Monday. It's the 15th, not the 18th, and they were supposed to release nationwide on the 19th and at official tournament stores on the 18th. So I got mine early. I don't think they were expecting me to get mine early. Amazon had it that they were supposed to get delivered here by the 23rd, but go figure, I got all 3 of them mad early. So this is going to be my deck profile of Mythical Beasts Endymion. And my god, I've been playtesting this since the announcement of the Spellcaster structure deck. Remember, I kept on telling you guys, because the zombie structure deck came out, the Spellcaster structure deck is next. And I was so flippin' hype about it because they kept on releasing all this spell counter stuff. I was like, I know the deck is going to be good. And I've been playtesting this on YGOpro so flipping much. My head is going to explode. I've not only been playtesting this, but I've been playtesting Witchcrafters in my spare time. So I have a deck profile for that coming up soon as I get all the cards for that together. And then I have a deck profile for Magical Musketeers when Dane drops, because I need Bloody Crown in order to show you guys that one. But other than that, this deck is probably one of the best decks I've ever played, period. I have so much fun playing this deck. This deck is fun, but it is competitive. And that's saying something from me. You guys that have watched this channel know I play Cubics, I play Metaphys, I do play Dark Magician, I play Red Eyes, but I don't have any of the big Red Eyes cards like Gearfried or Baby Red Eyes Black Dragon, and I don't have and I play Blue Eyes, but I don't have any of the big Blue Eyes cards with the exception of Blue Eyes Alternate Dragon. And then I play Magical Musketeers or Witchcrafters. Now I play Witchcrafters, but again, everybody considers that not to be a very competitive deck, which I think I'm going to change that a little bit, because Witchcrafter control is really good. I've been stomping Solomon Greats horribly lately with Witchcrafter control. It's a good deck. I'll get to that in that deck profile. But Mythical Beasts, I've been pushing them since they came out. I've been playing Mythical Beasts since they were announced on YG, and they were put on YGOpro. I've been playtesting them repeatedly. I've been playing spell counters, the spell counter mechanic in general, since I've been in the game, since the spell counter mechanic dropped in Magician's Force. So I gotta say that I've been playing spell counters for a long time, and this is one of the most consistent, one of the most crazy explosive spell counter decks I've ever had the pleasure of playing, ever. It does so much. So without further ado, let's jump into this deck profile, because I've been talking too long. It's 5 minutes already. Let's go. Alright, so you guys who've seen my videos before already know the format. Basically, I'm going to start with monsters first, and beginning with my Mythical Beast engine, we're going to let you know that boss monster, Mythical Beast Master Cerberus. Hold on, let me zoom in on that for a minute. Mythical Beast Master Cerberus is the first one. He's the first boss monster of the deck. He's the main boss monster, actually. 2800 beat stick. He basically has the ability to remove 4 spell counters from the field and banish a targeted monster on your opponent's side of the field, gaining that monster's attack for his own, and then being able to attack into it with a newfound power boost. It's a really good card. It's also the Rhoda of the deck, because when it's by itself in the scale, it can pop itself and it searches any Mythical Beast monster directly to the hand, as long as it's below level 8, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, level 7. So from there, we got triple copies of Mythical Beast Jackal King. You guys should already know what Jackal King does, because it's played a lot in the Pendulum Magician. It puts a bad taste in my mouth to say that, because I really don't want them to be, because this is going to be one of the first cards banned. I'm going to tell you that right now, like from the Mythical Beast Beast archetype. It's basically a monster negate, but it's also has the ability to act as basically Pendulum Reborn. For those who remember that trap card, Pendulum Reborn, it acts as Pendulum Reborn, so it summons a Mythical Beast back from the from face up on top of your extra deck. Next, we're playing triple copies of Mythical Beast Garuda. Basically, it's a hand trap for Mythical Beasts. It's compulse on legs. So you remove 3 counters from the field when your opponent summons however they're gonna summon, special summon, fusion summon, normal summon, whatever, pendulum summon, whatever they do. You basically hit this off, and it basically bounces every card that they summon back. So every special summon card that they summoned at that point back. So if they did a pendulum summon and summon like 5 monsters just straight out the bat, bounce them back. That's what this card does. It bounces them back, and it's going to come in real handy for the future format, because I'm gonna tell you right now, nobody is going to be playing the Mythical Beast variant because everybody thinks Mythical Beasts suck, and that's just not true. It's probably the best flipping variant of the deck. So every time that they decide, oh, I'm going to go ahead and pendulum summon, and you got this in your hand, which should be a good bit of the time because of the fact that you can search it and get it back from your extra deck, and I'll show you how momentarily. This card should be bouncing those cards. It just should be happening. Next, we've got the best card in the Mythical Beast arsenal, which is Jackal. You can say what you want to say. This little level 1 right here special summons any Mythical Beast from the deck to the field, basically for free. 3 counters, remove 3 counters for from the field and tribute this card, and you've got another Mythical Beast on the field, and it's not once per turn, because they assume that you shouldn't have a way to get this card back. But the thing about it is, there's so many ways to bounce this card back onto the field. You can get its effect off at least twice, and it'll start making a board real fast. It's not even funny. Next is the double Basilisk. You guys might remember this from when Pendulum Magicians just lost a little bit of their power, and not pretty much all of it. People were using this to spin back the Cerberus to draw a card in their deck. So basically it's an upstart goblin, but it has other effects besides that, but that's basically what you use to draw a new card, basically, and to get your Endymion stuff back off the top of your extra deck back into your deck so you can use it again. Next, we're playing one Medusa. Medusa is basically Monster Reborn. This is basically the same ratio I had in my original Mythical Beast deck. I just kind of took out the Odd Eyes engine and put in the Endymion engine, because the Endymion engine just increases the ceiling a buttload. So here we go with the Endymion. These are the Mythical Beast cards. Now for the Endymion portion of the deck. So with the Endymion portion of the deck, I'm playing 2 copies of the new Endymion, the Master of Magic. If you guys remember, hold on, let me see if I can get a closer look at that. But if you guys were paying attention to the OCG name, it was the Sorcerer Supreme. Now he's just the Master of Magic, or the Mighty Master of Magic. And basically, the reason why they made him the Mighty Master of Magic instead of Sorcerer Supreme is, I guess, Marvel. You know, Doctor Strange is Sorcerer Supreme. So, I guess they just took it away because Doctor Strange. But at the same time, it's a great card. It's basically Raigeki when it summons itself to the field by removing 6 spell counters from your field, which is easy to accumulate. I'll show you guys how. It also has the ability to negate 1 spell card by bouncing a monster or a card, any card actually, that has any type of spell counter attached to it back to your hand. And then it takes the spell counters from the card that it had bounced back and places it on itself, which means you still get to keep those spell counters on the field. It's actually super duper dope, super duper crazy, super duper easy, and it's a scale 8. It's one of your high scales. We have another high scale in here. We'll get to that in a second. Next is you play 3 copies of Servant of Endymion. The reason why you're playing Servant of Endymion so high up is because Servant of Endymion summons Endymion cards, and pretty much any other spellcaster that can be on the field that can hold a spell counter directly from your deck. Like, as soon as you get 3 spell counters on this while it's in scale, it goes and it can summon Cerberus, a Jackal, one of your Endymions. It summons what you need, basically, and that makes this card crazy because it also means that it's putting 2 spell counters on the field or 2 pendulum monsters on the field, which means it's giving you what you need in order to go into Electromite or to go into the new Dawn Knight. So let me zoom off of this a little bit. It's really good because of that, and it's fodder because it just keeps on getting bounced back. It's bounced back to negate a spell, so it's actually really funny that it can do that. Next, you have 1 copy of Magister of Endymion, because Magister of Endymion is only summoning a card off of the top of your extra deck that's face up, as long as you can remove 3 spell counters, and it's your other high scale. So you have another high scale that's actually great on that part. It's summoning itself to the field while summoning another card to the field, and it's basically giving you 2 monsters in which to go into a Electromite or to go into the Dawn Knight, which is actually pretty cool. So that is the end of your Endymion engine. I don't play Reflection of Endymion because it's not necessary. So that's the end of your Endymion engine. And then the last portion you have is 2 tech cards. So the 2 tech cards I play, I'm still going to be playing Auto-Eye Synchron because I don't care. Auto-Eye Synchron is searchable to an extent. It's searchable through Electromite. You can get it that way, but it's definitely able to get to you quickly. Then next, I'm playing 2 Effect Veilers, and a lot of people are gonna be going like, Effect Veiler? Yeah, Effect Veiler. I don't have the money to afford to play the trap Infinite Impermanence, and Effect Veiler inside of a Spellcaster deck has a lot more utility than just negate your effect pitch. I'll go into that in a second as well. So that's it for your monsters. Moving on to your spells. Spells are super easy, super straightforward. We're going with 3 copies of Magical Citadel of Endymion. If you don't like it, you can cut it down to 2. But I suggest at least running the 2 copies. You need it. It's absolutely important. It's a spell counter bank. It holds all your spell counters. It holds spell counters when your opponent actually manages to pop your monsters or destroy your monsters while they have spell counters on the field. It protects itself from targeted destruction. It can't protect itself from being sent or banished, but it can protect itself from destruction, most definitely. It's one of those cards that is really good, really easy to bring out because it's searchable. Again, searchable within this deck, and it's super searchable, so you have a whole lot of ways to get into this card. It's just real. You need this card, and the way we search it is 3 copies of Spell Power Mastery. So I'm playing 3 copies of Spell Power Mastery. It searches all your Endymion cards, which means all your Endymion cards are searchable. That includes Citadel. It includes your spell cards. They're all searchable within the deck. If you have 3 copies, it's all searchable. It's ridiculous. For every copy of Spell Power Mastery and Spell Power Grasp that's in the graveyard or on the field, this card's putting that many counters on a card that you choose. It's just that simple. And having that many counters be able to be put on the card, putting 5 counters on a Endymion, or putting 5 counters on a Citadel, or putting 5 counters on a Guardians, a Power of the Guardians, or putting counters on a what is that other card called, or putting counters on a Mythical Institution even, is really good, goes really ham. And the reason why that is so funny is because you're playing 3 copies of Mythical Institution. Mythical Institution searches any card that can place a spell counter on it, as long as you ditch that amount of spell counters on the field. So in other words, if I remove 7 spell counters, I can search Endymion. If I move 3 spell counters, I can search any of the Endymion cards. Doesn't matter. Which means I really have 6 searchers for Endymion and 3 searchers for whatever other card I want to search. It's literally that easy, and the easiest card to search is your Jackal, and I'm going to get into why that is important maybe near the end of the video if we have enough time, which I won't know till the end of the video. So next, Mythical Bestiary, I'm playing 3. Everybody's going to get mad at me about playing 3. I'm playing 3. The reason why I'm playing 3 is because I play another card that if I throw something in the graveyard that I wanted, I can get it back to my hand. I'm playing Medusa, so if I accidentally put Medusa, if I have Medusa in hand and I throw something in the grave that I can reborn back because it's a card that can hold a spell counter, I can put Medusa back. And then I'm playing the one Dwimmered Path, which I'll get to in a second. It's the spell guidance card that we had that they showed, but it's called Dwimmered Path now. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Spell Power Grasp. Counters are absolutely important in this deck. I don't care. It thins the deck out. It searches itself. It thins the deck out, and then when Endymion is played, it puts more spell counters on stuff. It's you need the counters. The counters are necessary. Counters are necessary to make this deck run and push itself. Speaking of more counters. Power of the Guardians. For every counter on this card, the card equipped to it immediately gains 500 more attack. 500 more attack for every spell counter on this card. And every time that card attacks, this card gains another spell counter. And instead of destroying the card that's equipped to it, when the card that's equipped to it is attacked and you try to destroy it, guess what? You remove a spell counter from anywhere on the field, that card isn't destroyed. And you remove a spell counter instead. That's how good that card is. Amazing. And because we're mostly running pendulum cards in here, 2 ignite reloads for my draw power. It's a good card, man. 2 pendulum paradox. You run so many of the same, I want to say you run so many of the same scales, with the exception of the servant, which you can just get back with Bashless. You can just shuffle it back with Bashless. But that you basically all your cards on top of your extra deck are recyclable by pendulum paradox. It's actually really dope that is the case. Next, we're playing 1 copy of Beast Magic Attack. Beast Magic Attack is again basically a Pendulum Reborn, except in spell form for spellcasters and pendulum monsters. It's mostly for the Mythical Beasts, but it's for any pendulum monster when you have 6 spell counters out on the board, which is easy to get to. This whole deck accumulates spell counters a little bit too easily for anything to go wrong. And then 1 Dwimmered Path. Dwimmered Path is another new card, and basically it is monster reincarnation for effect. Spellcaster monsters that are in your graveyard, you add it to your hand, but you can only activate 1 Dwimmered Path per turn. So basically, these are all the spell cards. That's it. I don't have trap cards. You guys that watch this channel know that I don't do side decks. To show you guys, if I was going to suggest a side deck, I would tell you guys immediately, do not play Pot of Extravagance in this deck. That is stupid. Do not do it. Do not play... but you should be playing maybe in your side. You should be probably siding called by, if you're going to change the ratios and mess with the ratios a little bit. Maybe side called by, because that'll help a little bit. So you can side called by. You can side what other cards are there that you can side? Side called by, side cards like cards like Bell, because that's good right now, because of the fact that Solomon Greats are a card or a deck, but once Solomon Greats meet whatever new card that is that they're talking about from the Megatins, that's a world premiere. I got a feeling that Solomon Greats are gonna die off just a little bit, but Rising Rampage might ensure that they come back a little bit. They're pretty consistent, but you just need to you guys need to figure out ways, because decks that have graveyard effects are gonna come into play big time. But that's the main deck. Let's get to the extra deck. So extra deck, really incomplete. I left 2 cards for you guys to choose whatever you want to put in there. You can put Borlo Dragon and a Borlo Sword Dragon in here if you want to, but I chose to go this route. So this route I'm going is 1 Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. Good in any pendulum deck, period. The new Daybreaker, the Shining Magical Warrior. And the reason why we're using Daybreaker is because of the fact that Daybreaker's effect is kind of impressive. It's basically a Breaker to Magical Warrior, and that helps you destroy floodgates. So when your opponent starts putting up floodgates like spell, like anti-spell fragrance or summon limit, this card's getting ready to pop them. Like, regardless, period. It's popping those shits. They're gone. Next is Zephyr Metaltron. I'm playing the 1 Zephyr Metaltron because this deck summons from the extra deck quite a bit. Especially if you're going to go for an OTK through effect damage, you're going to be summoning from your extra deck quite the good bit. And then you've got the 1 Baguska, the Stall for Time, the Castiel, the Bounce Back. I'm playing Odd Odds Absolute Dragon. Okay, so hear me out on this. A lot of people are going to be like, what do I need the Vortex Dragon engine in here for if I have Endymion? And I'm going to say just to shuffle the Endymion cards back. It's like if I want to reuse the Endymion cards back and I don't have any more copies of Pendulum Paradox, Vortex Dragon is my other way to do that. If I don't have any more copies of Basilisk because I used them early on in the duel and it's a grind to try to grind them down, the Vortex Dragon package is necessary. So I'm just going to let y'all know that Vortex Dragon is a part of the package. Next is all your synchros. So Tempest Magician. Old card. For those who don't know what this card does, you have the ability to discard any amount of cards from your hand to place that many spell counters on a card that can hold spell counters. Not its main effect. Its main effect that you want to use it for is to remove all spell counters from the field in order to deal damage to your opponent, equal to that many spell counters times 500. This card can literally end a game turn 2. Or your second turn going. Because this deck, I guarantee you, has the potential and the ability to put out 20 to 23 spell counters in one turn. I've done it more than once, so I can say it happens. That's all I'm going to say about that. Next is Explosive Magician. Once again, it's about popping the floodgates. You don't like them, so Explosive Magician can do that for you. It's a level 6 spellcaster. You can do it with 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner spellcaster monsters. Same thing with this. 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuner spellcaster monsters. It's really easy to get to. You have 2 different tuners in order to do that. And then you got your Archetype Magician. Pop everything, dude. Just pop everything. Like Archetype Magician's effect is not once per turn, and you don't have to use the counters off of Archetype Magician. You can use the counters on anything on the field that has counters that's on your side of the field. So off of Citadel, off of Institution, off of other monsters, like pop everything. It's basically your version. It's basically the spellcaster version of Black Rose Dragon, except a little better, in my opinion. I'm just gonna be honest about it. Psyframe Lord Omega. Oh my god, this card is needed. There's too many times where your opponent just goes, I'm gonna banish that card so you can't use it no more, and like they get annoyed with Endymion, so they banish Endymion. Banish Endymion, put it back in the graveyard, get it back. You're gonna get it back. You put it back in the graveyard, you're gonna eventually get it back. And they better hope you don't get it back soon. Next is Ignister Prominence. Ignister Prominence is so good in this deck. Okay, first of all, Ignister Prominence is good in any Pendulum deck, but Ignister Prominence is especially good in a Mythical Beast deck. The reason why is because it's going to pop your Mythical Beast, which is going to put the counters from the Mythical Beast being popped on to your Mythical Institution, giving you extra counters, and then it's going to bounce a monster. Like, that's absolutely insane, and it's great. It's great, and it's a 2800 beast stick, basically. It's 2850, so it's almost 2900. It's a good card. Awkward attack, but a good card. And last but not least, because nobody ever reads this card's second part of this card's effect. So this card has the ability to, 1, on summon Raigeki. On summon, it's a Raigeki. So this is like your third Raigeki in the whole entire profile. Because Endymion himself is a Raigeki. This card is a Raigeki on summon. Not only is this card a Raigeki on summon, but when this card attacks another card, it destroys that. It can pop that card automatically and just deal its attack as damage. It's a good card. It's a good behind card. Nobody reads this card's second effect. So it's kind of like funny when your opponent sits there and they're like, okay, I can get that card, or I can destroy it. And then they attack it, and then you go like second effect, pop, deal damage equal to 3000. They attack you with that bull sword, pop, deal damage equal to 3000. Like, it's funny. It's hilarious. So that's your my extra deck. My extra deck, like I said, not the fullest extra deck in the universe, but it gets the job done. I like it. And that is the deck profile, guys. If you guys like the deck profile, let me know. I don't really have time to show you guys any combos or anything like that, but like, are combos really necessary in a deck like this that can do so much? Probably not, but I'll show you guys some combos later on. If you like this video, if you like the video, give it thumbs up, give me some feedback. And it is Niv signing out.